Before we begin this video, we just want to speak about our new partnership with the mobile sports app called Locker. Locker is a new sports app whose mission it is to centralise premium sports content and put the power in the hands of fans to personalise their world of sport from sources they love and trust. It's recently launched and is available in UK and Irish app stores. It's free to download and it's great for football fans, so ahead of the internationals, give it a download and let us know what you think. We will be announcing more about this partnership in the coming weeks, but you can list your favourite club, whether it's in the Premier League, whether it's in the Scottish League, whether it's in League of Ireland, and you can have all your stuff listed in a feed designated to you, and you can get push notifications as well to your club. So check it out, it's free to download and the link is in the bio.
Okay, time to fire away.
Thanks a lot. Stephen, I just wonder, Andrew Mbamidele was probably in your thoughts to start because he'd been playing so well. Is he a particular loss for you coming into these two games?
I think, listen, Andrew's done terrific at the start of the season. You know, he's played very well for Norwich. But one of the advantages of sort of the influx of new players over the last 18 months has been increase the level of competition in the team, and you know, there's a lot of competition, so it's an area that we're strong in, and certainly it would be good for him because he hasn't been in the team for a while. Obviously, stress fracture in his back, and that was an issue for him, and he's come back, and it's an osteopubis situation he's been struggling with, so that's ruled him out. So we have good options, and it's not, you know, it's something that we just have to get on with.
Yesterday I saw the players who hadn't been involved over the weekend, and a lot of them were your more experienced players, like the likes of James Coleman and Shane Duffy, and Matt Doherty for that matter. I mean, are you thinking it's good for them to get game time in these two games?
Well, listen, it isn't usual. We always had a situation probably where we had a lot more players training on a Monday, you know, match day +2, and he would do full sessions, but it was just Seamus and Shane and Matt, but also Michael Obafemi. But the other two that came in were two players that just had been sent off, obviously, in the first half, so they were starting in games. But so we didn't have many players training, obviously, and that's more players are playing in first teams, which is okay. Less are playing in the Premier League maybe, but more are playing in first teams, and that's you know, that's a good thing. It's not ideal that any of the players that are not playing in their teams, it's not an ideal situation, particularly over a long period of time. Just can't have I don't think I can just come in with a consistent rule, one size fits all rule. You know, we'll have to judge each case on its merits, the individual strengths of the team, what we need, and but you wouldn't want to go in with too many players having not playing matches. And we even learned a little bit about that in June, you know, where players had come in and have that 5-week break and maybe had not been in their team for a couple of weeks before that and starting, and so that these are it's part of the learning curve for us.
And how important is it for you to finish the Nations League campaign strongly?
Yeah, we want to finish strong. I think the players are terrific in the last, obviously we had a mixed window, if you like, you know, whatever. We started slowly and disappointed, and then we finished strongly and did brilliantly against, obviously, the win against Scotland 3-0 and the performance in the Ukraine. Both games in Ukraine were very, very evenly contested, and I think so. It's a big game for us. It's a great game, Ireland against Scotland in the Nations League in Hampden Park. It's, you know, it's a famous venue, and we're delighted to be going there. And Scotland qualified for the European Championships previously. A lot of players playing at the high end of the Premier League, and you know, they're a very strong team, and we're looking forward to playing against them. And you know, we're getting better all the time. We definitely feel that, and against some of the top teams, we played very well against Portugal twice, and Belgium and teams of that ilk. So, you know, we're looking forward to the game on Saturday.
Thank you.
Anne-Marie, please.
Hey Stephen, how are you?
I am right.
Scotland are obviously playing tomorrow night against Ukraine. How big of a difference does it make for you to be able to focus on like this Scotland game for the whole week, whereas they can't really switch focus until Thursday?
Yeah, it's always difficult to gauge that. You think on the one hand you would think it would be an advantage, but then you see, I suppose, our previous performance against Scotland came 3 days after we lost to Ukraine, so ourselves. So it's difficult to gauge exactly. You know, it's not an exact science, and obviously it's an interesting game with two teams we know well, Ukraine and Scotland, and they play on Wednesday and they know each other well as well. So it's it's an interesting game on Wednesday, but we just got to really focus on ourselves and make sure we're ready. We're ready on Saturday.
Scotland will obviously be out for revenge though after what happened in June. What kind of reaction are you expecting from at Hampden Park as well? It's going to be a very different game.
Yeah, the home record. I know Ukraine won there in the World Cup playoff, but the home record has generally been quite impressive overall. So anything we get, we're going to have to earn. We're going to have to work extremely hard for each other and show the level of confidence that we showed in the last few games, that we showed over the period of time. With the Armenia game, obviously, apart from that, all of the other games we've shown a lot of confidence in and shown a lot of quality. And over the last good few months, and I think the players are getting more confident, clear idea what we want, and very exciting style of play as well. The players are confident in all areas of the park, and we want to continue that and take that into the game on Saturday.
Robbie Brady's obviously back in the squad for the first time in a long time. How does he settle back in, and where do you see his best position being for Ireland?
Yeah, I think it's competition for places. Obviously, a few tight decisions around, and that's what you want. And we had a very good training session today, and that was competitive, and that was a good day today for us. Robbie, at the moment we'd see him as a left wing back, because that's where he's been playing for a period. And it's difficult just to shift into another position at international level from club level when you haven't played there in a long time. But you're right, there's no reason why he couldn't fit into a sort of left of a 3-5-2, which would have been what he was probably born to play. But definitely he's been playing at left wing back at that level, and I think that's where we see him.
Kevin Kenny, please.
Yeah, hi Stephen. Obviously Andrew is out. Have you any other injury issues or doubts that you're worried about ahead of the game?
No, we don't at the moment. We're okay in that regard.
On Nathan's red card, did you chat to him about it? Do you feel that's your job to address these issues with Nathan, just given such a high profile?
Yeah, it's something I haven't discussed with him yet, but I may do, and between now and Saturday, but it's something that would, it's very, it's uncharacteristic of Nathan, and he's normally quite disciplined, and it's something I'm sure he'll learn from.
Yeah, it sounds like you don't think it might affect his confidence at all.
No, I don't think it will at all.
Yeah, there's obviously for me, and this is slightly left field, but you have so many options at centre back, including like Nathan and Darrell Shea. Do you ever see any of those as midfield options in emergency, maybe?
They're all capable of playing in the positions, but we have good midfield players, and we have competition in midfield as well, and that's the emergence of Josh Cullen, obviously, over the last since he made his competitive debut, and Jason Knight and Jason Maloney. Then there's competition because obviously Alan Brown and Jeff Hendrick and Conor Houran, so there's good options there, and we feel we have enough competition. I don't feel we're going to put one of the centre backs into midfield ahead of those players.
Okay, we've just got 2 minutes left of the embargoed live section, so we can keep it tight. Damien?
Stephen, can I ask, was the win over Scotland your best day yet as Ireland manager?
I hadn't really thought of it like that, to be honest, but it was a very good performance, and it wasn't perfect. We conceded a couple of chances in the game, and there's areas in that performance we can improve on. there's numerous areas we can improve on, but it was a very, very good performance. But we have to move on from it. That was then. Now we've got to go to Hampden very determined, because their home record, Scotland's home record, is excellent, and we're going to have to put in a really brilliant performance to get a result there, and that's what we're trying to do.
Ed and then Gavin to end the live section. Oh, you want the embargo? It's perfect. Ed to end the live section.
Stephen, hi. Just in terms of, you mentioned the slow start to the last window, sort of mirrors a bit the slow start to the campaign, both the World Cup and this Nations League. How do you ensure and get the team sort of firing on, I suppose, with next year's Euros in mind, but just hitting the ground running like on Saturday straight away? Do you have to, just remind them how well they finished the last window, or is it just more about just trusting the whole week process and it will work?
No, and I think, listen, we've every confidence in the players, and they've shown some good results. What you're asking there is in relation to, it's a separate answer I was given. I'm talking about the actual June window, learning from the June window, where there's a 5 or 6 week break and there's a couple of weeks. So yeah, we've already made provisions for that for next June already, in terms of how we would prepare next June and before our European Championship qualifiers, and we've already made extensive plans for next June and how we would prepare in that regard. So that's really a separate entity. Overall, we've no problems with first games and windows, and we want to go and put in another strong performance against Scotland. As you say, we've 2 games, Scotland and Armenia, different challenges, and we're looking forward to it. The players are trained well this morning. Obviously yesterday was very light, but trained very well today. I was pleased the way they trained, and we've no fresh injuries, which is good, and we'll get ready for Saturday.
Stephen, how are you? When it comes to team selection, can it be as simple as the guy who's started 9 matches this year for his club is up against the guy who's been sitting on a bench, or Scott Fleeting is up a bench? Is that as how simple it can be for some certain positions at the moment? You're rewarding guys for doing what needed to be done, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it is a dilemma. Nothing is straightforward. Some of the players that are playing in the Premier League, if they drop down to the Champions League, for example, they would probably play every week. So it is a dilemma, and some players can adapt and not play for a while and put in a big performance, but then you've got to factor in the length of time. All these things have to be factored in, the positions, the players playing in the positions they're competing with, and so it is a dilemma. And but listen, these are issues that we're not complaining about. I'm delighted with the players I have at my disposal. I'm delighted with the attitude of the group, individually and collectively, and so it's certainly something I'm not complaining about. It's just a challenge, and we've got to go and get it right for Saturday.
Because I don't know if this is your perspective, it feels like lads are taking risks they've gone out of their comfort zone. Jeff Hendrickson, obvious one, and that seems almost motivated by their playing for their country as opposed to their career. Yeah,
and a number of players have made decisions based on preserving their international career. Some, and that has to be commended. And to be fair, the players they love playing for Ireland. It's the best thing in their lives, in their sporting lives, and they're fulfilling their dreams playing for Ireland. And if that means getting as many, doing what needs to be done to get matches, they're by and large are willing to do that.
John Van, please.
Stephen, you just mentioned there with the last performance against Scotland, twice early on, John McGinn had a couple of chances from dispossessed and playing out from the back. Does that influence you in any way in terms of they're probably going to try and seize upon that again?
Yeah. No, I think the thing about that, one was John McGinn, and obviously one was Ryan Christie, wasn't it? I think it was the second, was it? But I think the one of the things that we said at half time of that match was don't not play out. Just we made a couple of big mistakes and we could have been punished. And then I know some people say some, commentators said, oh, even on the TV it was said, oh, I remember they got caught in Portugal. That was sort of 7 matches ago. So in the interim 6 matches we didn't get caught. And if you kick the ball long, you're just giving it away anyway a lot of the time. So I think we said at half time, have conviction. Don't get caught like that again, but have conviction, do it better, to really show that we can play from the back and play. And I thought they played out in the back really well the second half, did a lot better, and it was enabled us to control the game. And I think we learned from sort of Portugal away, where I felt we sort of went into defensive mode a little bit in terms of, as the game wore on, we sort of didn't play up, and we kicked it longer, and from the kick from our goalkeeper, and just maybe they pressed us higher and we just couldn't get out. But I think we learned a little bit from the Portugal away game, where because we made a mistake, maybe we didn't want to make another one. Because we made a mistake in that game, we maybe didn't want to make another one, and so that's the nature of it. It's if you make a mistake, having the conviction to believe in yourself, and because so many teams just do that. They just when they go through a difficult phase, oh, we can't do that. We just have to go long now because we've got caught and we've got punished, and then there's a bit of criticism. So it's determination to have conviction in what you're doing, and do it regardless. And not with maximum risk. You don't want to take huge unnecessary risks. We don't want that. We don't want to be careless. But we want to be able to build in a way that enables us to control the game and establish control of the game, which is very important, and to create the necessary chances that we need.
Yeah, and Stephen, that game in June has come up a few times. Like, how relevant is that game, to this game in terms of maybe decisions you might face? I think all the outfield players you had that day available, certain combinations that work, or is it a completely different type of game on Saturday? And people will look at talk about continuity maybe, but are you expecting it to be a completely different type of game sort of 3 months later?
Scotland's home form is very good, so they're gonna come out of blocks, and they'll certainly come at us with a home crowd getting behind them, partisan crowd. So it's going to be a different environment. Our crowd were amazing that day in the Aviva Stadium, and I think so we're going to have to show composure and possession away from home, and stretch the pitch in the way that we're capable of, and try and establish some control in the game. I think that's important away from home, and so I'm sure Scotland will be determined to rectify, in a way that we would be against Armenia, for example. Do you know what I mean? So I think so that's the way I would say it.
Jason Maloney was someone you brought in for that game. I know that was probably in the middle of a 4-game window and you were looking to freshen things up, as you would have said at the time, but is Jason even in a better place now in terms of his club career and the sort of run he's had?
Yeah, you're right, there are competition in those areas. Jason's played very, it's been, West Brom have had a lot of draws. They've drawn a lot of games, but they've been in the ascendancy of most of them, and they've drawn a lot of games, but Jason's played well this season for West Brom, and he's been quite consistent there. So from that point of view, he's got more games under his belt. He was in and out of the team a little bit last year, and he had runs of been in the team and little spells have been out of it. So he's been ever present, more or less. So it's good for him.
Neil Reardon, please.
Hi Stephen, just when you're at Dunfermline, I think you had 3 games in Hampden in the space of 6 weeks in that cup run. Could just ask what your memories of that were, of the semi-final defeat and then a late final defeat?
Yeah, it's a long time ago. I don't know. It's black and white, I think then, wasn't it? I think it was that long. But no, I think Yeah, it's yeah, it was. Listen, we were huge underdogs against Hibs in the semi-final. They had beaten Kilmarnock 6-1 in the CIS Cup final. And Kilmarnock, Hibs had Scott Brown, Kevin Thompson, Stephen Fletcher, Stephen Whittaker, all that team. They'd beaten Kilmarnock 5-1, who had Stephen Naismith and Gordon Greer, a good team. They'd beaten them 6-1, but Kilmarnock had beaten us in the league 5-1. So we had to go in. Kilmarnock had beaten us 5-1, and we had to go in against a team that had beaten them 6-1. So they were a really cracking team, Hibs. So we drew with them in the first game and then beat them in the replay. So it was obviously a good time and pushed Celtic close, but a late goal obviously. But yeah, it was just part of the learning curve for me, at the time, and it's good, it's good experiences.
And part of the venue, it's just kind of one of those kind of old style classic arenas.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, no, it's a great, it's a historic stadium, of course. There's been obviously many great games with huge crowds over the years, and so we're going there, and we're looking forward to going there on Saturday, and it's a big occasion for us, and we want to go and try and have a really good night.
Paul Lennon and Philip Quinn to end it, please.
Yeah, Stephen, let's go back to Jason Maloney, who did very well in the last two games. Would it be a bit unfair to drop him from your starting 11 now, given what the impact he had in those two matches and what you've said about him playing? I think he's played every game or nearly every game this season, and done well.
Yeah, it is. It would be it would be harsh if we did make that selection. But I suppose a few players could say that. A few players could say that. So it's sometimes fairness doesn't come into team selection. You just have to do what you feel is right, and that's something.
And just up front, have you in your mind on which? I know you've played information every game, but you sometimes make a few alterations up top. Have you decided one on your formation up top and your personnel at this stage?
I think obviously we've been working on the two systems and the ability to play between 3-4-2-1 and 3-5-2, and I think it's important that all the players are aware of both in and out of possession, how exactly we want to play in both systems. And it's good to have that you're not just reliant on one system, and that was one of the positives of the last camp, is when of the front two, when they played together, they were excellent. They really played well in that match, and we have good options now. And then Chidozie playing as a centre forward, having played as a wing back, Chidozie playing as a centre forward this year's a bonus for us in that if we were playing that system, and obviously Callum Robinson and Scott Hogan. So we've got good options now. We want to play 3-5-2, and but equally with the ability to switch systems. So we need to have that. I think can't be reliant on one way of playing, just one way of playing. So it's good to have the ability to change if required.
Philip, please send it.
Two for me, Stephen, and I'll be brief. You said at your start of the campaign, you probably had the number of points that you were hoping for, but Ireland still comes second. With that in mind, what result suits you best tomorrow night when Scotland play Ukraine? I'm sure you look at the table and you probably know what percentages are in your favour. What result gives you the best chance of coming second?
I think it's obviously they've got to play each other twice, and just for obvious reasons that Ukraine have one more point than Scotland. I think it's our best opportunity finishing second is if Ukraine won the two games, you would think, from a mathematical point of view. But we've got to just focus on ourselves. We can't really concern ourselves with that, though. We've got to just focus on making sure we're right, and trying to put in a big performance on Saturday, and that's what we're firmly focused on.
And the second one is, all managers have to make strong decisions about players. Martin O'Neill dropped Robbie Keane when we went to Glasgow in 2014. Can you see yourself making the strong call, if need be, to leave out Coleman and Duffy? Would you be afraid of doing that?
Would I be afraid of doing it? No, I wouldn't be afraid of leaving anybody out, really, you know. That's not, you know, I don't think I'd be sitting here if that was the case, you know. I think we've always had to make tough decisions, but they're two brilliant people in the group, and both had tremendous careers, and are both Premier League players, and I'm sure they're out of their teams at the moment, but I'm sure it's only 7 games into the season. I'm sure they'll get opportunities to get back into Everton and Fulham teams respectively, you know, and they've been great servants for Ireland, but they still have a big part to play for us, you know.
Going forward.
Yeah, going forward for sure, yeah.
Okay, thanks guys. Thank you very much.